Formula One is the pinnacle of motorsport, where average speeds can be over 200 miles per hour. And while F1 is incredibly exhilarating, it can be very, very dangerous. When Formula One was first established in the 1950s, there were practically no safety features, not even seatbelts. Did you know that one driver in every 8 races was killed during the 1960s?
Thankfully, the FIA, Formula One, drivers and teams stepped in to stop this trend. Tragically, the death of Jules Bianchi in 2014 has actually been the only F1 death in 25 years, and this accident actually spurred a lot of new safety innovations in F1, from barriers to race suits to safety cars. Today, we'll be talking about 3 safety innovations in F1, the halo, the racing suits, and the refueling ban.
Let's start with the halo. The halo is a protective titanium barrier that prevents large objects and debris from entering the cockpit. And while it's only 7 grams, it can withstand up to 12,000 kilos of weight. This is crucial for protecting drivers, especially in collisions where they otherwise would have been crushed. And though we know and love the halo today, when it was first introduced in 2018, it received a lot of pushback from very notable figures in the sport.
Although the halo would actually go on to save many lives, including Zhou Guanyu and Lewis Hamilton, it actually received a lot of pushback for how it looked compared to the sleekness of all of the F1 cars that came before it. Ironically, at the call for cockpit safety, Mercedes was the first one to propose it back in 2015.
Testing and development occurred on and off track in 2016 and 2017 until it was officially mandated in 2018. And after seeing the halo in action, public sentiment began to turn. Analysis by the FIA shows that it has increased the survival rate from crashes over 17%. The innovation is standard in F1, and it's now also used in feeder series like F2 and F3.
A second huge innovation in the world of F1 comes in the form of safety suits or driver suits. Did you know that in the early days of Formula One, drivers literally just wore their day-to-day civilian clothes to go racing? And in 1963, the FIA made racing overalls mandatory, but fire safety was still a massive concern when it came to that. And then in 1975, the first standards for fireproofing materials really came to be, and thank goodness, because in 1976, Niki Lauda's fiery crash was a perfect example of why it was needed.
Part of the race suit safety innovation comes in the form of the fabric called Nomex, which is a fire-resistant fabric that has been worn in some form by drivers since the 1960s. And what is really cool about Nomex is it was originally designed and used by NASA astronauts. The fibers have a unique polymer makeup that make them much more effective than just fire-resistant or fire-treated clothing.
Alongside other innovations, the Nomex in the racing suits have evolved over the years. What went from really, really heavy, sticky, hot 5-layer suits have now become really lightweight and breathable, and everything in the suit, down to the zippers and the threads, can withstand heat and fire anywhere between 600 to 800 degrees Celsius.
And the last big safety innovation for today, the refueling ban. Now, refueling rules have changed a few times throughout Formula One, most recently in 2010, where they banned refueling. And this ban was really to improve the safety for drivers. Previously, there had been many accidents that came to refueling, where there were fuel spillages that caused fires and burns, including Kimi Räikkönen in 2009, who suffered minor burns at the Brazilian Grand Prix, and Jos Verstappen, Max Verstappen's father, in 1994 at the German Grand Prix, where he and some mechanics were engulfed in flames.
In addition to safety, the FIA also banned refueling for logistics, as of course it was really, really expensive and costly to move the fuel and the equipment all over the world. Another really big impact of this refueling ban was strategy, because a lot of the times teams used to strategize about when to go in and when to refuel. So instead now the strategy is more around how to maximize fuel and save fuel to last the entire race.
F1 cars also became a little bigger in 2010 because the refueling ban required fuel tanks to be larger. The previous smaller fuel tanks were not even large enough to sustain an entire race without refueling. In 2017, there were actually discussions about reinstating refueling alongside some other regulation changes. And many teams and drivers supported this change to help with tire degradation and encourage more flat-out driving. Ultimately, the safety, cost, and environmental benefits won, and the refueling ban has stayed in place.
So these are just 3 amazing steps that F1 has taken to improve driver and team safety. Definitely comment below if you enjoyed it, or if there's any other things about safety or F1 in general that you want to learn. See you next time.